Welcome to Wednesday class at ISKCON of Silicon Valley online. Thank you so much for joining. We are going to study and learn about Srila Sanatana Goswami today. So it is a Vyas Purnima day. That is the day when Srila Sanatana Goswami disappeared from this world. So we'll take this opportunity to learn more about Srila Sanatana Goswami. We can start with the Jaya Radha Madhav and do Mangala Charan prayers and then go into hearing about Srila Sanatana Goswami. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashoda Nandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashoda Nandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Now we can go to Mangala Charan prayers to invoke auspiciousness and to seek blessings of Guru, Vaishnavas and Bhagavan. Om Jnanatmirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padkamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindubhya cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Thank you so much for projecting, Prabhu. Do I take over now?
Yes.
Okay.
Prabhu, I will stop sharing. You can share.
Okay. Thank you, Vicky. Thank you, Vicky Mataji Mukharvind Prabhu, for joining. So I will share my screen. Are you able to see?
Yes, Prabhu, we can see.
Okay, great. Thank you. So today is Vyas Purnima. Today is the day when Srila Sanatana Goswami disappeared from this world. Sanatana Goswami is one of the 6 Goswamis. Goswami is one who has controlled his senses, who is the master of one's senses. So these six Goswamis are especially very well known because they are students of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and they have done a great service to expand the Sankirtan movement. The most prominent of them are Rupa and Sanatan Goswami is elder brother of Rupa Goswami. So we are going to learn more about Sanatan Goswami today. So before I begin, I offer my obeisances to my spiritual master, His Grace Vaisheshika Maharaj. Because of him, I am able to understand this transcendental knowledge. I also offer my obeisances to Srila Prabhupada, who has given us immense Vedic literatures to understand our relationship with Krishna. And I offer my respects to all of you because you all are devotees of Krishna and you carry Krishna within your heart. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Okay, so we completed our invocation prayers. And now we'll go into the introduction. This is the overview for today. And then we will understand the early life of Srila Sanatan Goswami, how he met with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and how he received Krishna consciousness from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then how he practiced in his life, how he contributed to the Krishna consciousness movement, and how those teachings are practical, relevant today. And then we'll have a discussion if we have any questions or reflections. So Srila Sanatan Goswami is one of the assistants of the 8 primary gopis in Vrindavan. In the spiritual world, Krishna, he is always enjoying and having loving exchanges with his devotees. So the highest of devotees are the cowherd damsels or gopis who are in conjugal love with Krishna. And these gopis are assisted by manjaris. So Srila Sanatan Goswami is one of the primary manjaris in the spiritual world. Krishna sends them to spread Krishna consciousness in the world and to invite us back to relish the same loving exchanges with him in the spiritual world. So this is the constitutional position of Srila Sanatan Goswami. And now I will explain how he appeared, where he appeared. This was 500 years ago. He appeared in Saraswat Brahman family. These are very pure families who live a clean lifestyle, very pure-hearted, and following all the rules and regulations of the Vedic scriptures. So the lineage is of Bharadwaj Rishi. He's one of the prominent sages in the Vedic literatures. So his father name was Kumar Dev, and he appeared in Fatihabad, Bangladesh, known today as Bangladesh. There were 3 siblings, Sanatan, Rupa, and Vallabha. So this is how they appeared. And from their childhood, they were very learned in understanding the Vedic literatures. And as they grew up, especially Sanatan Goswami and Rupa Goswami, they were very learned in all the languages like Sanskrit, Bengali, and Persian. Also, their nature was very, very, very gentle, and they were honored all over the Hindu society. So in those times, the followers of Sanatan religion were known as Hindus, and even today. But they were highly regarded as most nice as the perfect example of a Brahman family. So they were highly regarded. And at that time, India was ruled by Mughals, or there were Muslim rulers. So Bengal was also ruled by a Muslim ruler called Nawab Hussain Shah. So, so this Nawab Hussain Shah actually forced these brothers, Rupa and Sanatan, to work as ministers under him. So Nawab Hussain Shah would normally go on conquering other kingdoms, and he would keep ministers to rule his administration, to rule the current kingdom. So because these people were vastly learned, Sanatan and Rupa, he forced them to work under him. He threatened them, if they do not agree to work under him, then he will not only persecute them, but he will persecute also all the followers of Sanatan Dharma. Because of that threat, Sanatan and Rupa, they accepted the ministership under Nawab Hussain Shah. And Sanatan was very, very expert in administration, and he was later given the title of Prime Minister of Bengal by Nawab Hussain Shah. Even though he was at such an elevated state as a designation, he was very humble in his behavior, and people were very happy to be working under him or to be under his administration. He was famous among gentle as well as ruffians. So even though he was the follower of Vedic culture, and he was following all the rules and regulations, but still he was famous among both gentle and ruffians. So Nawab Hussain Shah would consider Sanatan as his younger brother. So Nawab Hussain Shah, being very happy with Sanatan's work, he bestowed many gifts like land or treasury to Sanatan. However, Sanatan, because of his childhood, because of his upbringing, he was always attached to Krishna in his heart. He was never attached to the material comforts. So he was very charitable to all the Brahmanas. So he would profusely give charity to Brahmins. Then, as he was doing his administration work, he was also doing his devotional service. Ramkeli was the capital of Bengal at that time. So Sanatan constructed a place called Gupta Vrindavan in that place, in Ramkeli, or in his residence. So Vrindavan is the place in India where Krishna appeared 5,000 years ago. And there are many beautiful pastime places of Krishna, like there are ponds called Radha Kund and Sham Kund. There are hills, Govardhan Hill. There is river Yamuna. So Sanatan constructed a replica of Vrindavan with Radha Kund, Sham Kund in Ramkeli, so that he can meditate upon Krishna. There are forests called Kadamba Kanan in Vrindavan. So he constructed a replica of Kadamba Kanan in Ramkeli, so that he can meditate upon Krishna. And another time he dreamed of receiving Srimad Bhagavatam. So we are so fortunate by mercy of Srila Prabhupada that we can order Srimad Bhagavatam and it will be available to us same day, any part of the world. But that time Srimad Bhagavatam was not easy to find. And Sanatan actually had a dream that a Brahman will come and give him Srimad Bhagavatam. So when he woke up, he was really happy that he is going to get Srimad Bhagavatam, but nobody came. So he was very morose. But in the same day, later in the evening, the same Brahman came and gave him a copy of Srimad Bhagavatam. So Sanatan studied Srimad Bhagavatam, and he was increasing his devotion to Krishna with every page, with every text that he was reading Srimad Bhagavatam. His teacher was Srila Vidya Vachaspati. So he is highly regarded by Sanatan. Even in his literary works later, he wrote a commentary on the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So although he was performing his devotional service, he was living a pure life, but he was still ashamed because he was working for a cruel meat eater, Nawab Hussain Shah. In those times, Hindu community was very rigid. So anybody, even if they come in contact with a Muslim or with a meat eater, he was completely outcast. So here Sanatan was doing it due to being threatened because Nawab Hussain Shah would have persecuted the Hindu community, but he was still very ashamed of his work. That is the life he was living. And then we see then comes Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the deliverer of the fallen in condition in this age of Kali Yuga. So one fine day or one fine night, Sanatan dreamed of a golden renunciant monk. And this monk was telling him that you should give up material life and you should focus only on Krishna Bhakti. But Sanatan did not know who is this person. Later on, Rupa, who is brother of Sanatan, he confirmed that he is Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who has appeared in Kali Yuga to deliver all the fallen souls. He is none other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna himself. So after this, Sanatan and Rupa wrote multiple letters to Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, requesting him that please engage them in his service to deliver them from material existence. However, they never received a response for those letters. Finally, they received one response in which Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave them an example. Just like a woman who has a paramour or another person besides her husband, she conducts all her household affairs very nicely so that nobody comes to know that she has another man in her mind, in her consciousness. So similarly, one should practice bhakti. One should always keep Krishna in one's heart, but perform his work nicely so that there is no hindrance in his meditation on Krishna bhakti. So after reading that letter, Sanatan and Rupa continued to perform their administrative work, but they increased their devotional service of reading Srimad Bhagavatam and chanting of Krishna's glories. Later on, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was heading towards Vrindavan, and he changed his course to come to Ramkeli. So in Ramkeli, Rupa and Sanatan were residing, and thousands of people followed Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was loudly chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare. And wherever he was going, simply by saying Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, people were leaving their household and they wanted to go with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They wanted to chant like him. They wanted to dance like him. So thousands and thousands of people followed Mahaprabhu to Ramkeli. There, Nawab Hussain Shah, he became very surprised and shocked. Who is this renunciant? He's a Hindu renunciant, and so many thousands of people following him. Then he asked this question from his minister Keshav Khan. Keshav Khan mentioned, "Oh, he's just an ordinary mendicant. We should not care about him. We should not pay much attention." But Nawab Hussain Shah was purified just by hearing about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he mentioned, no, he is not an ordinary saint. He is a representation of Krishna or Allah. So let him do whatever he is doing. Nobody should stop him. So we can see that even by hearing about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, a person who is a meat eater, who is who is not following the Vedic principles, who is not clean, he can be purified just by hearing about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And later on, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu conducted big kirtan in Ramkeli, and he gave the instruction. He gave this prediction: Prithvi te aate jate nagar adigram sarvatra prachar hoibe morana. He mentioned that in all the towns and villages of this world, my names will be sung. So that prediction was done 500 years ago, and we can see how it has been, it is coming into fruition by the efforts of great acharyas like Srila Prabhupada and all the current teachers of Krishna consciousness movement. And of course, by the efforts of 6 Goswamis and all Guru Parampara. So that was predicted by Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu 500 years ago. Now, Sanatan and Rupa approached Mahaprabhu in the night in disguised form because they were highly designated ministers. So they disguised them and approached Mahaprabhu in the night. And they offered prayers of utter humility and surrender to Mahaprabhu. They said that, "O Mahaprabhu, you have appeared in this age to deliver the most fallen, and you will not find anybody more qualified to receive your mercy than us. There is no one more fallen than us. We are the most fallen. Although we are born in a Brahmin family, we are engaged in working for an unclean person who is a meat eater. Our engagement, our work is involved with those people who are not following Vedic regulations. We are known as very advanced because of our knowledge of grammar, because of our knowledge of diplomacy and administration. But we are most fallen in our behavior and in our culture. So you will not find anybody more fallen than us. So please give us your mercy. Please give us your shelter." Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Sanatan and Rupa that they were his eternal associates. So Mahaprabhu revealed to them that they should not become so morose. They are his eternal associates, and they have appeared as Rupa and Sanatana in this birth. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was really satisfied with their humility and surrender, and he asked Rupa and Sanatan to quit the work under Nawab Hussain Shah and join him. After that, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu returned to Jagannath Puri. So Jagannath Puri is the place where the festival of chariots have been happening for thousands and thousands of years, if not millions of years. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu base was Jagannath Puri. So now Rupa and Sanatan wanted to immediately quit their services in the government, and they wanted to join Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Rupa Goswami could immediately quit and left. But Sanatan, because he was a prime minister, he could not leave his duty immediately. So he called in sick for weeks and weeks. He was calling in sick, and he was reading Srimad Bhagavatam at his home. Although he was perfectly fine, he was reading Srimad Bhagavatam at his home in the association of pure devotees, in the association of Brahmanas. Nawab Hussain Shah, he grew impatient. Why Sanatan is not showing up? He wanted to go and conquer the nearby state of Orissa, but there was so much administration work to do, so he could not go. So he sent a doctor to check on Sanatan, and then the doctor reported back to Nawab Hussain Shah that Sanatan is doing perfect. He is reading Srimad Bhagavatam in the association of Brahmanas, and that made Nawab Hussain Shah really furious. And then he went to the home of Sanatan and he chastised him. Why are you not helping me? You should support me. I am going to conquer other kingdoms and you have to take care of the administration. But Sanatan said, no more, no mas. And now I'm not going to support you in these things. So Nawab Hussain Shah, he actually threatened him that I will put you in the prison house if you don't support me. Then Sanatan said, yes, you are representative of God. You are a king. You can do whatever you like. So then Nawab Hussain Shah gave the order to imprison Sanatan. Rupa, before quitting his job, he left a sum of 10,000 gold coins to support Sanatan if he needs that kind of money to leave, to quit. So then there's a nice story how Sanatan was able to escape from the prison. In order to show that, there's a very nice drama that I want to play. So Prabhu, can we play the first part?
Yeah, let me share my screen.
Thank you.
Soon after this meeting, the two brothers decided to renounce the material world and thus decided to resign from their government services. Srila Rupa Goswami resigned immediately to meet Lord Chaitanya after distributing all of his immense wealth in the most exemplary way. In the meantime, Sanatan Goswami, being the Prime Minister, felt obliged to stay on for some time, even though he had lost all interest in worldly affairs. He was aware that if the Nawab somehow became angry with him, it would make the things easier for him.
नित्य धर्म भागते अनास अवस्था के बजा. This verse, Suniti is continuing to explain and console her son Dhruva by saying, my dear boy, you should also take shelter of the Supreme Lord. He is Vatsalam, very kind to his devotees. For such persons who are mumukshubi, that is desiring freedom from all bondage, should take shelter of the Supreme Lord to practical devotional service by becoming Ananya Bhave, one-pointed in determination. Hearing this instruction, Dhruva Maharaj left home and went into the forest.
Adab, Mulaiza, Hoshiyar, Sahin-Shah Alam, Hukumat-e Bengal, Nawab Hussain Shah तशरीफ ला रहे हैं.
Sakar Malik, what is the matter with you? Why are you acting so independently? Nahul, I have not come here to sit. I am most displeased that you have lied to me, Sakar Malik. In response to your letters mentioning your sickness, I sent my personal physician to check you. But he reported that you are in perfect health, and in fact, studying Bhagavatam while being completely neglectful to the state administration.
Sorry, sir. But that's all I can expect. Please arrange for somebody else. That is. What?
Why? I have treated you like my own brother. I'm just about to attack Orissa, to conquer that state. Your elder brother is busy plundering, killing, and is completely dependent on you to take care of his internal affairs. You are not letting me down.
I know I'm severely disappointing you. I'm quite helpless.
Sakar Malik! You were such a dutiful person. How is it that you are neglecting your responsibilities in this manner? I'm surprised to see a sudden change in your personality, in your attitude. I trusted my wealth, my kingdom, my everything. And you? I'm very furious with your behavior. You cannot do that to me.
I have deliberated on this matter very carefully. And my decision is final.
Nonsense! Sakar Malik! If you don't alter your decisions, you will be punished!
You are the supreme ruler of Bengal. And completely independent. Whenever anyone commits a crime or offense, you punish him and he resigns. Similarly, if you find my behavior inappropriate, you can deal with me as you speak.
Take this man and throw him out of the prison.
After imprisoning Sanatan, Nawab Hussain Shah went with his armies to conquer the neighboring kingdom of Orissa. Having heard of his brother's arrest, Rupa Goswami sent a letter to Sanatan.
Lord Chaitanya has left for Vrindavan, and Sri Vallabh and myself are starting out to go meet him there. You also should somehow or other get released and come meet us in Vrindavan. I have left a deposit of 10,000 gold coins with the local grocer. Use that money to get out of prison as soon as possible.
Hussein, just see the play of destiny. The man once who was sleeping in royal palaces on soft bed. Today he's lying on a hard road.
That's true. Some people go from rags to riches, and some from riches to rags.
Over the years, we have seen so many ministers come and go. No one has seen leaders like Sakar Malik and his brother.
Everyone loves them.
People are so unhappy this turn of events. Anyway, may Allah take care of him. Ya Allah Parvadigar. Hussein, I think it's quite late at night. You go to the next jail and I'll take care of him. Khuda Hafiz.
I have left 10,000 gold coins with the local grocer. Use that money to get out of prison as soon as possible. I have left 10,000 gold coins with the local grocer. Use that money to get out of prison as soon as possible. I have left 10,000 gold coins with the local grocer. Use that money to get out of prison as soon as possible.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
I wanted to speak to you. Can I speak to you?
Yes. Oh, sure. Why not? Sakar Malik, tell me what you want.
Just by seeing you, I get strong vibrations of your devotion to Allah. You must be a very faithful Muslim, very devoted to his religious practices. The aura of Allah's mercy shines on your face.
You know, Sakar Malik, I have never missed a single namaz in the last 40 years.
Really? Since you're such a saintly person, you must be having very deep knowledge of the Quran Sharif also.
Let me inform you that every day I recite the Holy Quran for 1 hour.
Really?
Yes.
In that case, you also know that if a person helps another become free from bondage and imprisonment, the merciful Allah helps that person to become free from all suffering and bondage and takes him to paradise.
Of course, of course. But what are you trying to say, Sakar Malik?
Look, in the past, I have done much good for you. Now I am in difficulty. Please return my goodwill. I want to go. I want to go to the Holy Land on pilgrimage to Mecca. If you kindly assist me, it's the mission of my life, and free me from imprisonment, you will get much religious benefit.
Yes, I am pious and religious man. But I want you to go on Hajj to Mecca. But what would Nawab Hussain Shah say when he sees you that you are gone? He will definitely punish me. Maybe even he will kill me.
And then Nawab comes, just tell him that I went to Pastul with all my chains on the bank of the Ganges. And I jumped in the water and I drowned with all my chains. Then you looked for me here and there, but you couldn't find me. And I was drowned and taken away by the waves.
But what if he said,
Plus, these are 5,000 gold coins. Simple.
you see, I am,
And
yes,
the additional 2,000 gold coins.
all right, Sakar Malik, I will do this for you.
Okay, we can stop here, bro. Okay. Can I share?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. So, are you able to, oh, no, 1 second, share. Yeah. Are you able to see my screen? Okay. Good.
Yes, Prabhu.
So this was the past time when Sanatan actually escaped from the jail, and we can see that anything is possible. Where there's a will, there's a way. So Sanatan used his diplomacy or his intelligence in getting out of the prison so that he could go and meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. After that, he had to go through a lot of forest area because he could not use the normal road because he was a fugitive or he was a prisoner. And so he had to use some forest area in order to go towards Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to meet him. He was going towards Varanasi. And in the middle, he has to go through many challenges like dacoits and thieves. But by Krishna's mercy and by his strong will, he could finally reach Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was living at the house of Chandrasekhar in Varanasi. And that's when he reached I'm sorry. Am I still sharing? Okay.
No, Prabhu. And now you're sharing.
Okay, good. So he was able to meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Varanasi, and there Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted him as a student and instructed him for in the science of Krishna consciousness for 2 months, every day, whole day, every day. So there Sanatan, he asked these questions that Ke Ami, who am I and what is my real duty? Why am I suffering from threefold miseries? Who is God and what is my relationship with him? So that is the part in that he discussed. He said that everybody calls me a great learned scholar, but I'm such a learned scholar that I don't know who am I. Why am I here? Where am I coming from? Where am I going? So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed him in the science of Krishna consciousness. So that is covered in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, chapter 20. And then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave him instructions. When we receive transcendental knowledge, we purify ourselves, and then we get an instruction to share this with others. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave him transcendental knowledge and also gave him instructions how to share with others. Maybe we can read a little bit from Madhya Leela chapter 20 because it's a long chapter. We can just read the summary. Are there any volunteers to read? Anybody would like to read the summary?
Prabhu, I can read.
Okay.
So you would like to share or you want me to share and read?
I can share, new share. Okay. Yes, we can read the summary. This is Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 20.
Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructs Sanatan Goswami in the science of the absolute truth. The following summary of this chapter is given by Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Amrita Prabhava Bhashya. When Srila Sanatan Goswami was imprisoned by Nawab Hussain Shah, he received news from Rupa Goswami that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had gone to Mathura. Sanatan Goswami thereafter satisfied the superintendent of the jail by sweet solicitations and bribery. After giving the jailer 7,000 gold coins, Sanatan Goswami was released. He then crossed the Ganges and fled. One of his servants, Ishana, followed him, carrying 8 gold coins. Sanatan Goswami and his servant then spent the night in a small hotel on the way to Banaras. The hotel owner knew that Sanatan Goswami and his servant had 8 gold coins, and he decided to kill them and take the money. Making plans in this way, the hotel owner received them as honorable guests. Sanatan Goswami, however, asked his servant how much money he had, and taking 7 of the gold coins, Sanatan offered them to the hotel owner. Thus the owner helped them cross the hilly tract and proceed toward Varanasi. On the way, Sanatan Goswami met his brother-in-law Srikanta at Hajipur, and Srikanta helped him after he had heard about all Sanatana's troubles. The Sanatan Goswami finally arrived at Varanasi and stood before the door of Chandrasekhar. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu called him in and ordered him to change his dress so that he would look like a gentleman. For his garment, he used an old cloth of Tapan Misra. Later, he exchanged his valuable blanket for a torn quilt. At this time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very pleased with him, and thus Sri Sanatan Goswami received knowledge of the absolute truth from the Lord himself. First, they discussed the constitutional position of the living entities, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained to Sanatan Goswami how the living entity is one of the Lord Krishna's energies. After this, the Lord explained the way of devotional service. While discussing the absolute truth, Sri Krishna The Lord analyzed Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan, as well as the expansions of the Lord called Swayam Rupa, Tad Ekatma, and Avesha, which are divided into various branches known as Vaibhava and Prabhava. Thus, the Lord described the many forms of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He also described the incarnations of God within the material world. Incarnations such as the Purusha avatars, Manvantara avatars, Guna avatars, and Sakyavesha avatars. The Lord also discussed the divisions of Krishna's different ages, such as Balya and Pauganda, and the different pastimes of the different ages. He explained how Krishna attained his permanent form when he reached youth. In this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained and described everything to Sanatan Goswami.
Thank you. Thank you for reading.
Haribol.
Guru. Haribol. So we'll go back to the slide. So then after receiving this knowledge, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also gave instructions to write books on devotional service based on the Vedas and Puranas, to write books on Vaishnava etiquette and how a person in renounced order of life should behave. He also gave the instruction to reveal the unalloyed devotion to Radha and Krishna as the essence of all the scriptures, and also to excavate holy places of Krishna's pastimes and erect temples, especially in Vrindavan, because Vrindavan was covered by a dense forest and all the holy places were covered. So these were the instructions that were given to to Sanatan Goswami by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And now we will discuss how his dealings were after receiving those instructions. So Sanatan Goswami has to go through a lot of difficulties while he was going towards Vrindavan. But then finally, when he reached there, to Jagannath Puri. Finally, when he reached there, he was greeted by Haridas Thakur. So Haridas Thakur would chant every day 300,000 names of Krishna. And he was dear associate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Haridas Thakur and Sanatan Goswami was living together. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would give them audience every day for hours. They would discuss Krishna Katha and the pastimes of Krishna. And one fine day, Sanatan Goswami was called by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to accept prasadam, Jagannath Puri prasadam. So Jagannath Puri is well known for prasadam. So there were two routes to go towards Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's residence. One was through the temple, Jagannath Puri temple. There is a gate called Simha Dwar, where all the pujaris or the priests of the temple would go to offer services to Lord Jagannath. And there was other route, which was through the beach. So the beach, there was sand, and it was that month of May and June, which is really, really hot. Like today, we have such a high temperature. So it was really hot, and maybe much more than what we experience here. And the sand was like burning hot. So because Sanatan considered himself to be fallen because he was associating with a Muslim ruler, and he was associating with meat eaters, and also his body was infected with some kind of disease where blood was oozing out from his body, pus was coming out of his body. On his way towards Jagannath Puri, he contracted this disease because of drinking a contaminated water. So he did not want to choose the route from the Simha Dwar. He wanted to go through the other route, which is through the beach. So he was so much in ecstasy, so much in love, that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has called him that he did not even notice that his feet were burning and there were blisters on his feet because of that. So after that, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw Sanatan and gave him prasad. And then he asked, Sanatan, how come your feet have so much blisters? Which path have you come from? So Sanatan replied, my lord, I have come from the beach. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, you should have come through the other route where the Simhadwar is there. But Sri Sanatan Goswami said, I cannot come through that route. All the pure priests of Lord Jagannath go through that, and if they see me, they will be contaminated. And then they will commit offense to Lord Jagannath. So this is the humility of Sanatan Goswami. He established Vaishnava etiquette from his own behavior. 1 year after leaving, so he lived in Jagannath Puri for an year, and then he was told to go back to Vrindavan, which is also known as Vraj. So in Vraj or Vrindavan, it's a big area. So Sanatan Goswami was a renunciant monk. So he would do madhukari. So he would go every home and beg for alms. So he would get 1 chapati from each house, and that's how he was surviving. And he was living under one tree for one night, constantly absorbed in writing the books on devotional service, on Krishna, on Krishna Prema, on devotional service. And he was also eating very little. He was always engaged in chanting the holy names and writing books. So that's how he was spending his day in Vrindavan or Vraj. His dealings with inhabitants of Vraj were very sweet. People in Vrindavan or Vraj, they will call him Baba because they would see him as somebody who is very advanced in devotional service. They would consider him as his guru. So Sanatan was a guru of everyone in Vraj. When he would talk to the Vrajvasis, he would ask them, how is your family? How are your cows? How is your mental health? How many kids you have? Have you married your daughter or not? So these are the kind of questions that he would ask from the Vrajvasis or the inhabitants of Vraj. So they had a very intimate relationship with Sanatan Goswami. That is why the day when Sanatan disappeared is known as Guru Purnima. So all the inhabitants of Vrindavan, they celebrate it as Guru Purnima. Then there is another story of a touchstone. So there was a Brahmana who was a worshipper of Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva was very pleased with his service. So he asked, what do you want? The Brahmana said, I want to become rich. I am very poor. Please help me. So Lord Shiva directed him to go to Sanatan. He said, Sanatan has a touchstone. If you go to Sanatan Goswami, you can beg him for touchstone. And then by using that touchstone, you can convert anything from iron into gold. So you can become rich. So the Brahmana agreed and he went to Sanatan. And Sanatan Goswami, he asked him, yes, please welcome. How can I be of your service? So the Brahmana said that I have been told that you have a touchstone. Can I get that touchstone? If you don't mind. So Sanatan Goswami said, yes, please. It is there. He showed him a place to go and get it. So Brahman said, where? I just see a pile of trash there. So Sanatana Goswami said, yes, actually, that is the place where the touchstone is. You can find it right there. So Brahmana went inside the pile of trash and he could find the touchstone. And he also tested it. He touched it to an iron object and it turned into gold. So he was very happy. Now this Brahmana was pure, so he could think, why would Sanatana Goswami keep this in a place of trash or garbage? So he went again to Sanatana Goswami and he asked, do you have something more valuable than this touchstone? Otherwise, why would you keep this in the pile of trash? Then Sanatana Goswami replied, yes, I have something millions of times more valuable than this touchstone. So Brahmana said, can I have that? Sanatana Goswami said, yes. But for that, first you have to throw this touchstone into Yamuna river. So Brahmana hesitated, but he agreed. And he went and threw the touchstone in the Yamuna river. After that, Sanatana Goswami initiated the Brahmana into the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And he said, by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, one can get Krishna Prema, which is millions of times more valuable than any material possessions. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So these are his dealings after receiving instructions from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We have covered a few, but there are many more. What are his contributions? He has written immense literature. Out of them, few are mentioned here. Brihad Bhagavatam, which is the book. It has 3 volumes. It talks about who are the topmost devotees of Krishna, what kind of devotional service they perform, what are their attitudes, who is Krishna, how can one get love for Krishna. So it covers a story of a boy called Gopkumar who is in the who gets initiation from a pure devotee, and then his journey from the earthly planet all the way to Golok Vrindavan. So Brihad Bhagavatam. And then Hari Bhakta Vilas is the manual on Vaishnava etiquette, how Vaishnava should act. Dasham Tippani or Vaishnav Toshni is the commentary on the 10th canto. There are many, many more books, but these are the most prominent contributions. Temple, Shri Radha Madan Mohan, that you can see in the picture, that was erected by Sanatana Goswami. There's a story behind how this temple came up. Let me see, how much time do we have? Can we go into the story? It's 8:10. Okay. Let me go quite quickly. I will take a few minutes. So Radha Madan Mohan is one of the deities of Krishna who were millions of years, who are thousands of years old. So when Krishna left this material world 5,000 years ago, his great grandson Vajranab, he actually made these deities of Krishna so that people can remember Krishna. So Radha Madan Mohan was one of the deities, one of the 3 most prominent deities who were made by Vajranab. And it is said by Mother Uttara, mother of Parikshit Maharaj, that the lotus feet of Madan Mohan are exactly same as Krishna's lotus feet. So that is the significance of Radha Madan Mohan. 500 years ago, the same Madan Mohan deity was revealed or manifested to Advaita Acharya, and who passed his worship to Purushottam Chobe. And later on, Srila Sanatana Goswami visited the house of Purushottam Chobe, where he saw that Purushottam Chobe was offering food to Krishna and was chastising him with a stick, like one parent chastises the boy or child. Why are you not eating the food? I have kept it here. Why are you not eating the food? So he was chastising Madan Mohan. And Sanatana Goswami had written Hari Bhakti Vilas, which talks about worshipping Krishna in the mood of reverence and respect. So he was very shocked. How could you behave with Krishna? Krishna in the deity form, in the form of Madan Mohan, he is non-different than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So one cannot be so disrespectful to the deity. And Purushottam Chobe apologized. He was such a humble Vaishnava. But later on, Madan Mohan came to the dream of Sanatana Goswami. He said, I like to receive that kind of chastisement from Purushottam Chobe. He is in the mood of parental love with me. But now, because he has become in the mood of reverence, so he is going to donate these deities to you. So you please take care of me. So that's how Madan Mohan deities were given to Sanatana Goswami. Now, Sanatana Goswami did not have any place to stay. He would carry these Madan Mohan deity with him wherever he would live. He was living every day under a different tree. He was begging some chapati and without salt. He was offering the same to Madan Mohan. So one day there was a very rich merchant who had a big boat, and it was stuck in the river on the bank of Yamuna, as far as I recollect. So at that time, there were so many dacoits in that area, and they could have looted the whole boat. So this merchant was actually praying to Krishna to help him. So Madan Mohan came in the form of a boy and showed him and asked him to go to Sanatana Goswami and ask for help. So Sanatana Goswami, he initiated this merchant into the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and he asked him that the highest achievement of human life is to get love for Krishna. So a pure devotee does not give material wealth to any sincere seeker. He only gives Krishna Prema, which is the highest perfection of human life. After this, the merchant offered a little bit salt to Krishna, and he was offering prayers to Krishna, and he saw that the boat came out of the obstacle, and he was able to proceed and sell all his materials in Agra. So he received a great amount of wealth, and then he offered, he requested Sanatana Goswami, how can I help you? Can I help you financially? Sanatana Goswami said, no, I do not need any wealth. I live under a tree, but could you construct a temple for my Madan Mohan? So that's how the iconic Radha Madan Mohan temple came up, and we can see that Vrindavan is known from this temple, Radha Madan Mohan temples, which is there in the picture. So this is one of the contribution of Sanatana Goswami. Another one is Sambandha Acharya of Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. So Sambandha is relationship. So he has established our relationship with Krishna. Who are we and how we are related to Krishna? Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has explained that all the Vedic literatures are divided into three categories: Sambandha, Abhideya, and Priyojana. Sambandha means what is my relationship with Krishna. Abhideya means what is my duty as a servant of Krishna. And Prayojana means what is the ultimate goal, which is pure love. So he is the Sambandha Acharya of Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. Who can worship Krishna? Who is qualified to take up devotional service? What is the process to become pure? How we should not do things, how we should, from where we should hear Krishna Katha, from where we should not hear Krishna Katha. That is elaborately explained by Sanatana Goswami in the books like Hari Bhakti Vilas and Brihad Bhagavatam. So these are the contributions and many more. I would like to share this one verse which is quoted by Srila Prabhupada so many times. And it shows how relevant the philosophy of Krishna consciousness is even today, especially in the age of Kali Yuga. Would anybody like to read the verse and translation?
I can read, Prabhu.
Okay.
Or there is Mukharvind Prabhu was about to read, I believe.
यथा काञ्चनतां याति कंस्यं रसविधानता तथा दीक्षाविधानेन द्विजतां जायते नृणाम्. As bell metal when mixed with mercury is transformed to gold, a person even though not golden pure can be transformed into a Brahman or Dvij simply by initiation process. Hari Bhakti Vilas 2.12.
Thank you, Prabhu. So we hear this verse many times during initiation process. So Srila Prabhupada writes that that is what Krishna consciousness movement is doing. There are two initiations, first initiation and second initiation. In first initiation, one takes vow to follow the four regulative principles, that is to live a clean life, and also to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, minimum 16 rounds. So by performing those two, one chanting of Hare Krishna and four regulative principles, one can become pure, even though one may be born in the family of dog eaters or so-called low class. So that is, this is the process. Just like by mixing bell metal with mercury, it can be transformed into a gold. A person, even though not pure, it can be transformed into a Brahman. However, the caste Brahmins say that one has to be born in a Brahman family in order to become a Brahman. But that is not true, as referred here. One is known by qualities and activities to be Brahman, not by birth. So this is something which I wanted to share. And then he disappeared in Chakra Tirtha Vrindavan, Sanatana Goswami, and all the Vrindavan Vasis were very morose because he was their guru. So they celebrate this day as Guru Purnima. Sanatana Goswami would always circumambulate Govardhan hill because Govardhan was held by Krishna and his hand. So Govardhan is Krishna himself and is also very dear to Krishna. So he would circumambulate Govardhan every day. And the Vrajavasis, in order to celebrate this day, they would circumambulate Govardhan hill. So that is how his disappearance day is celebrated. I would like to acknowledge the book from where I have got all this content. This is Vrindavan Yatra with His Holiness Radhanath Swami. It's volume 1, 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. So I have got all this content from this book and some from Vedabase.io. So I will stop here. If you have any questions and reflections, we can take them now. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, very wonderful.
For this.
I think someone is asking question there.
Yeah, thank you.
Mukharvind Prabhu, please go ahead.
Much for the wonderful journey of Srila Sanatana Goswami. Yes, Prabhu. Yeah. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for the wonderful journey through the from the whole birth to to divine Leela of Sanatana Goswami, especially on this auspicious day of Guru Purnima. So, and thank you for bringing all the nice video and audio and everything to make our mind focus on the class. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prabhu, for encouraging me. I can just remember that verse that Prabhupada says that although one is not very very good in presentation, so but if we discuss Krishna Katha, and then it is heard by all the honest men. So even though it is not presented properly, you are present here. So thank you so much for encouraging me. Hare Krishna.
No, the presentation was very nice, actually. It was very nice. Yeah. And then Prabhuji, that video, is that also made by ISKCON devotees, or what is that? Or it is some video you got?
Yes, it is Radha Gopinath Media, Chopati Temple.
Oh, okay. So
they have a full drama on this, but I just picked up that portion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's good to know.
Yeah, I came to know from Srivas Chandra Prabhu. So he said this would be interesting if we add it, and I agree. This was really nice.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu, for the wonderful description of the pastimes. I checked online. I did not find any questions or any reflections there, but it is very nice. Your description was, and the narration was very nice. Very sweet.
Thank you for your patience, and thank you for encouragement. Okay, so if there is nothing else, we can do some kirtan.
Yes, Prabhu. Please go ahead.
Okay, so shall we do the Shad Goswami Ashtakam, Prabhu?
Is it in KK songs? It is there?
Yeah, it should be there.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do it. We can read the translations. Anybody would like to read translations first?
I can go ahead and read the translation.
Okay, Prabhu, let's read the translation.
I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis, namely Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatana Goswami, Sri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, and Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami, who are always engaged in chanting the holy name of Krishna and dancing. They are just like the ocean of love of God, and they are popular both with the gentle and with the ruffians, because they are not envious of anyone. Whatever they do, they are all pleasing to everyone, and they are fully blessed by Lord Chaitanya. Thus, they are engaged in missionary activities meant to deliver all the conditioned souls in the material universe. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis, namely Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatana Goswami, Sri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, and Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami, who are very expert in scrutinizingly studying all the revealed scriptures with the aim of establishing eternal religious principles for the benefit of all human beings. Thus, they are honored all over the three worlds, and they are worth taking shelter of because they are absorbed in the mood of the gopis and are engaged in the transcendental loving service of Radha and Krishna. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis, namely Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatana Goswami, Sri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami and Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami are very much enriched in understanding of Lord Chaitanya and who are thus expert in narrating his transcendental qualities. They can purify all the conditioned souls from the reactions of their sinful activities by pouring upon them transcendental songs about Govinda. As such, they are very expert in increasing the limits of the ocean of transcendental bliss, and they are the saviors of the living entities from the devouring mouth of liberation. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis, namely Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatan Goswami, Sri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, and Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami, who kicked off all association of aristocracy as insignificant. In order to deliver the poor conditioned souls, they accepted loincloths, treating themselves as mendicants, but they are always merged in the ecstatic ocean of the gopis' love for Krishna and bathe always and repeatedly in the waves of that ocean. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis, namely Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatan Goswami, Sri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, and Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami, who were always engaged in worshipping Radha Krishna in the transcendental land of Vrindavan, where there are beautiful trees full of fruits and flowers, which have under their roots all valuable jewels. The Goswamis are perfectly competent to bestow upon the living entities the greatest boon of the goal of life. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis, namely Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatan Goswami, Sri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, and Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami, who are engaged in chanting the holy names of the Lord and bowing down in a scheduled measurement. In this way, they utilize their valuable lives, and in executing these devotional activities, they conquered over eating and sleeping, and were always meek and humble, enchanted by remembering the transcendental qualities of the Lord. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis, namely Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatan Goswami, Sri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, and Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami, who are sometimes on the bank of the Radhakunda lake or the shores of the Yamuna, and sometimes at Vamsivat. There they appear just like madmen in the full ecstasy of love for Krishna, exhibiting different transcendental symptoms in their bodies, and they were merged in the ecstasy of Krishna consciousness. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis, namely Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatan Goswami, Sri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, and Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami, were chanting very loudly everywhere in Vrindavan, shouting, Queen of Vrindavan, Radharani, O Lalita, O son of Nanda Maharaj, where are you all now? Are you just on the hill of Govardhan, or are you under the trees on the bank of the Yamuna? Where are you? These were their moods in executing Krishna consciousness. Jai Sri Sat Goswami Astakam ki.
Jai.
Prabhuji, you can continue for like 2-3 minutes more. You can do these lyrics, that's fine.
Okay. Krishna Kirtan Gana Nartana Paro Premamritambo Nidhi Dhira Dhira Jana Priyo Priyakaro Nirmatsaro Pujitao Shri Chaitanya Kripa Bharo Bhuvi Bhuvo Bharavahantarako Vande Rupa Sanatano Raghujugo Shri Jiva Gopalako Nana Shastra Vicharanaika Nipuno Sadharma Samstapako Lokanam Hitakarino Tribhuvane Manyo Sharanyakaro Radha Krishna Padaravinda Bhajana Nandena Mattaliko Vande Rupa Sanatano Raghujugo Shri Jiva Gopalako Shri Gauranga Gunanuvarnana Vidho Shraddha Samriddhyanvito Papo Tapanikrintano Tanubritam Govinda Ganamritaye Anandam Buddhivardhanaika Nipuno Kaivalya Nistarako Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghujugo Shri Jiva Gopalako त्यक्त्वा तूर्णमशेषमण्डलपतिशेनिं सदा तुच्छवत् भूत्वा दीनगणेशकौ करुणया कोपीनकण्ठाश्रितौ गोपीभावरसामृताब्धिलहरी कलोलमग्नो मुहुर् वन्दे रूपसनातनौ रघुजुघोषी जीवगोपालकौ कूजत्कोकिलहंस सारसगणा कीर्णे मयूराकुले नानारत्ननिबद्धमूलविटपाशीयुक्तवृन्दावने राधाकृष्णमहर्निशं प्रभजतौ जीवार्थदौ यौ मुदा वन्दे रूपसनातनौ रघुजुघोषी जीवगोपालकौ संख्यापूर्वक नाम गाननतिभिः कालावसानि कृतौ निद्राहार विहार कादिविचितौ चात्यन्तदीनौ च यौ राधा कृष्ण गुणास्मृतेर्मधुरिमानन्देन सम्मोहितौ वन्दे रूप सनातनौ रघुजुघोषी जीव गोपालकौ राधा कुंड तटे कलिंद तनया तीरे च वंशीवटे प्रेमोन्मादवशाद शेष दशया ग्रस्तौ प्रमत्तौ सदा गायन्तौ च कदा हरिर्गुणवरं भावाभिभूतौ मुदा वन्दे रूप सनातनौ रघुजुघोषी जीव गोपालको हे राधे व्रज देविके च ललिते हे नंद सूनो कुता श्री गोवर्धन कल्प पाद पतले कालिंदी वने कुता घोषन्ताौ इति सर्वतो व्रजपुरे केतैर्महाविह्वलो वन्दे रूप सनातनौ रघुजुघोषी जीव गोपालको। श्री षड गोस्वामी प्रभु की जय। श्री षड गोस्वामी अष्टकम की जय। Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you for broadcasting and projecting. Thank you, Vicky.
Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hari Bol.
Vancha
kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah.
Kautukarnava Prabhu ki jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ashram Madhav Prabhu ki jai.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.